Hi everyone, welcome in. Let's just make sure that everything is working okay before we kick things off. If I'm looking around here, I'm just looking at my machines, just making sure we're all here. I'll just write a note here. Cool. So we've got quite a few of you on, so that's great. Welcome all. Let me know where you're tuning in from. This is this is completely live. Want to make sure that this is really collaborative, and it's all about, we're going to really focus in on the Analyst Hub today. So let me know, have you got first of all, have you got access to the Analyst Hub? Are you using it? How are you finding it? Just let me know in the chat. That'd be great, and we can sort of just work from there basically. There's quite a few things I want to show you around how I'm using a lot of the new Analyst Hub features, especially teams and projects, and just holistically setting up the Analyst Hub so that it is really effective around my collaboration, like my collaboration around how we implement Power BI, but also just my general productivity around Power BI as well, my personal productivity. And if you've got any pressing questions, let me know in the chat as well about the Analyst Hub, because I'm keen to know what you're running into with the Analyst Hub, and how I can potentially, how I can structure the session. I mean, I've got sort of something in, formulation in my mind around how I want to do things, but we can definitely go in any direction. I'm happy. I want this session to be as collaborative as possible. And the idea, I think, we'll go for about 45 minutes today, maybe 45 minutes. That's usually all the time we need, and then we can have some questions at the end and sort of see how it goes. So any questions up front that anyone has around the Analyst Hub? Okay, great. So we've got some on the call which have access. So awesome, that's great. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll basically just go into what the Analyst Hub actually is, because I'm sure some of you probably, hold on, I'll just move my camera here, but some of you have used it, but maybe aren't aware of all of the recent updates we've made to it. So I'll just be able to zoom in here, and I'll just double check my Zoom's working as well. Okay, cool, so it's working. Okay, so what is the Analyst Hub? So the Analyst Hub, maybe I can talk to sort of, very briefly about the background of the Analyst Hub. So the Analyst Hub was created in my mind about 18 months ago. And, obviously I use Power BI a lot. I have used it a lot historically. And I always just felt like there was just something missing. Like I knew that I could be more productive in what I was doing with Power BI. And I knew things like, you write a lot of DAX formula, you write a lot of encode, you sometimes can use other types of code. And so I knew I wanted a place where not only could I format these things, but also save them down so that I didn't have to write out long formulas all the time. So that was one of my first big things. Then I also wanted at my fingertips, I wanted some inspiration and ways that I could create things in my reports quickly so that I didn't have to dream things up all the time. So that was another thing that I thought, okay, well, that's going to boost my productivity as well, because sometimes a lot of, like when you're actually developing inside of Power BI, a lot of the time just goes into thinking about how you're going to visualize it, how you're going to navigate things. So how you're going to create a navigation experience. And so I wanted to really be able to speed that up and optimize that as well. And then things evolved, and I've realized we could help with colors, we could help with lots of other things. And then with discussions with a lot of our sort of corporate customers, we realized, well, there's actually a bit of a gap around how you deploy Power BI and how you collaborate within your teams, because Power BI doesn't have amazing collaboration features, honestly. It's hard to know what others are actually doing within your universe of analytics initiatives, right? And so we wanted a planning tool and some planning features that enabled you to build a bit of a strategy around how you implemented things. And then in combination with a community, you could leverage off what a lot of the other community was doing, a lot of templates that other people were using to improve your implementation. Because there's silos not only across organizations, but also just between what all organizations are doing. And if we could create a community where everyone could leverage off what others are doing and best practices with some planning templates and so on and so forth, I knew that we could really improve that side of things as well. Okay, so that was kind of like how the Analyst Hub started, and it started slowly, but we've been investing a lot of money into building this up, because I just have personally really felt that there's a need for this, and from there we've been adding all of these great features based on feedback and various other things over time. And we're continuing to update it, by the way. So there's some really cool things coming on stream even in the next few weeks, which I'm really excited to show you. Okay, so let's dive into it. So if to actually get here, it's just analysthub.enterprisedna.co. You can navigate here from our homepage as well. So you'll see that we've changed up our homepage a little bit recently, and we've got the Analyst Hub directly up the top here. And you can sign up for free. We offer a 7-day free trial. It used to be 30 days, but we've reduced that now. So just with the interest and the popularity of this, we know that you can figure out very quickly within 7 days that this is a really solid tool. And so you can try it, and then you'll see that I'll go through the pricing and stuff in a little bit as well. But I want to more so just dive into best practices here. But can answer any of those questions later on down the track. Okay, so I'm already logged in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go directly to the App Center. And please jump in with questions at any time. So we've got a question here. The data model planner add a data source box, very useful when there are multiple data sources in the model. Yeah, that's a really good point, Matthew. I guess what I would say to that is we've got the data model planner here. So this is kind of the tool that you would use to sort of show your data sources. That's why we've built this here. My feeling was that there wasn't a huge amount of room that we could actually add more things in here. So we created a separate app, the data model planner, where you can save a document. And I can show you one that I've done up in the past that would be useful here. You can save a document and then put them in the same project, so you can sort of see them together. Okay. Now, just quickly, I'll go through the Analyst Hub so that you have for those who aren't as familiar, you have an idea of like how it's set up. So we have our apps center. Okay. So the idea with the Analyst Hub is we're bringing together a range of different apps to help with your productivity and collaboration. So you can click through any of these apps, use them, and then the whole idea is that you can save documents within each of these individual apps. Okay, and those documents can be saved into a community of documents. So this is all of those in everyone in our community saving documents. And so this is growing really fast and is growing faster and faster by the day as more people are using the Analyst Hub. But you can also save documents personally as well. What we've introduced quite recently is that you can actually save documents not only personally now, but you can also save them within teams. Okay, and this brings us to the Teams feature. And so what you can do is you can set up teams. You can set up any amount of teams that you like. So say you're in an organization, you can set up teams. Maybe you work across a few different teams. You might only work in one team, but you might work in a few teams. You might have your marketing team, your finance team. You might have your management layer, so on and so forth. So there's a number of different. We've kept it pretty flexible so that you can totally customize this to however you like. We don't have one way that we feel you should do it. You can create teams however you like. You can also create teams with people external as well. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be just internal. So you can collaborate with others who are using Power BI, even in the Enterprise DNA community. And within teams as well, what we've done, you can always see what team you're in down the bottom here. So I'm currently in what we call the Enterprise DNA Devs team. And within that, you can create projects, right? And so you see here that within any team, so say you're in your marketing team or your management team, you can create individual projects for that specific team. And the idea is that, and this is one of the things I want to talk about, is some of the best practices around how to set this up, because I think that's quite important. The idea is that you can save specific documents into your teams and then add them to specific projects if you want. So say you're working across a range of different projects, and the way this relates, and I'll go into this in a second, is say you're working across a range of different workspaces inside of Power BI, a range of different workspaces. Well, it makes sense to have projects for each of those workspaces. Because all of those in Power BI online, so in the Power BI online service, you have a range of different workspaces that roll up to individual apps, right? Well, the best practices that I've worked out with the setup inside of Analyst Hub is you want to create projects based around workspaces, because then you can plan out what should go into a workspace, what data sources feed into a workspace, what you want to put into an app, so on and so forth. And that's how you can just get a lot more organized around what you are doing within a workspace, but also collaborate really effectively around the planning aspect, the strategy aspect, the distribution aspect of your information in a workspace. Here in the online service, that collaboration is quite difficult, but the Analyst Hub enables you to place specific planner documents inside of projects, but then all of these other supporting documents, like what colors you want to use, maybe some unique code that you want to go into a specific workspace, your Power BI portfolio, like your version controlling inside of a workspace, your data model planning, which could be really important, your data source planning, so that you know what should go into a data flow within a workspace. All of these little things can make a huge difference if you just have a little bit of planning around them inside the Analyst Hub, but then organize them in a way that relates to what you're doing in the online service. Okay, so hopefully that makes a lot of sense, because that is this is big. Like these updates that were made into the Analyst Hub have only come in the last month or so. We've been pushing out a lot of new features, and this is sort of it's to me, it's making the Analyst Hub a lot more feature complete, because you can really relate it back to what you are doing inside of Power BI now, where before we had a range of just applications, which was cool, but this is how you can really boost your collaboration and really optimize your implementation of Power BI a lot more by being able to organize these things. Does anyone have any questions on that before I sort of go through just a number of ways that I myself am personally using? Like I am using the Analyst Hub like crazy at the moment. Everything I do inside of Power BI, I'm using the Analyst Hub in collaboration, whether it's like in my development, but also with the organization of our own internal analytics projects that we're working on at Enterprise DNA. How, just because I know more have joined the call, how many of you don't at the moment have access to the Analyst Hub? I'm really interested, because I'd like to use this as an opportunity for you to trial it out and see it for yourself. So it looks like we've got around 50 or so who are tuning in. I'd be really interested to know how many of you are using it. In terms of our internal numbers, the amount that we know are using it is it's over 1,000 now. So it'd be interesting. It would be interesting to learn a little bit more. Okay, I'll just push on if there isn't any questions right now, but I'm happy to jump into those. So just let me know. Okay, so Brian isn't using it. So Brian, definitely, just a reminder, you can trial Analyst Hub for free for 7 days. So and that's complete access to all of the features, and you can really put into practice what I go through today. So another question. Okay, so it looks like you've just purchased maybe membership. So just a reminder, Analyst Hub is not included in membership. It's a separate offering, but it is included in the Center of Excellence. So if your organization come in and purchase Center of Excellence licenses from Enterprise DNA, the Analyst Hub is included because that's a big part of how the Center of Excellence works within an organization. We want to embed our Center of Excellence in your organization because it's not only about learning, but it's about planning and strategy and implementation. Okay, so Matthew's got some interesting feedback here, so I want to just jump into that. So I've used the Teams Planner, but found it lacking. I've started using Analyst Hub to organize my development. Okay. Yeah, happy to dive into that more if you want to sort of suggest some of the issues there. But I'll go through what I'll do is I'll go through how we're using it, and maybe this will maybe bring some clarity into your own mind how you could use it, right? So these are such new features that it's even taken myself to a bit of time myself to really figure out what I deem as sort of best practice here. So I think this is ever evolving, but I definitely feel like there's a good workflow that I've worked out in my mind that I think would be really, really helpful to any organization. Okay, so I think I've got to start here, okay, because it's all about how does this relate back to Power BI, okay? Now, how you actually set up your workspaces is actually really key here, right? And this is I think this is where there's a lot of confusion as well. Is how do you use the online service? Like, what's the overall strategy for using the online service? Now, what I think, and how I think you need to do it is you need to be very strategic around how you create your workspaces, right? So the way that the online service works is you have your own personal workspace, but you also have team workspaces where you can work together with others in your organization. And you have a bit of flexibility within your organization around who can join what workspaces. In my view, what you want to try and do with workspaces is you want to create groups of individuals or users of Power BI, or just consumers of Power BI. You want to organize everyone into these unique groups based on a business function or maybe a sub team within a business function, right? So breaking down your analytics initiatives into like functional groups. Okay, so let's just take ours for example. Okay, so in our organization, you'll see here that I've set up things like enterprise DNA customers, enterprise DNA finance, enterprise DNA internal products, enterprise DNA marketing, enterprise DNA operations, enterprise DNA sales, enterprise, and that's it. And then we've got some ancillary ones here that we had a few months ago that I'm looking to deprecate, but these are sort of the main ones, right? And if you just sort of think more broadly about how what's going to add, like when you're trying to be more immersed in data, what are these subset of groups that where it makes sense to have everyone collaborate in the same area? Okay, and so this is how we broke it down, and this I would say is pretty common out there. Like probably if you're like a much larger organization, you're probably going to have subgroups of the subgroup, right? So your finance team might be broken up into different regions, or your marketing team might be broken up into different types of marketing, maybe digital marketing versus other media marketing, so on and so forth. But this is the sort of framework that I think you've really got to base your workspaces around, because ultimately, think about what workspaces roll up to. Workspaces roll up to individual apps. You can only have one app per workspace at the moment, right? And so your one app, you want to be aligned to all of the reports that go underneath that, right? Because within your app, you can have multiple reports, and it's just a really efficient way to have sort of one application at the end of the chain that has all of the key information for your subset of analytics, right? And then what you might also find, and this is where you can bring a lot of scale into what you do inside of Power BI, is you'll find that all of the data that relates to, say, customers is going to be quite distinct to all of the data that goes into sort of finance, right? And so you can really bring a lot of scale across all of the different reports that might sit inside this workspace, because you might have many different reports under customers, but there's a lot of related data that you could say put into a data flow, right? So I'm going to click into customers, right? And we can just have a look at sort of how I've set this up. So we have a range of reports sitting underneath here. But because we're all sitting under customers, well, that's how I can use data flows really effectively, because there's going to be a lot of common data that, like maybe like a customer name list or customer email list. You know, a lot of these things could very easily be put into a data flow so that people don't have duplication of effort across all of those in this team, like in this sub team, you know, and all the reports that are going into that workspace. Okay, so hopefully this is important, because I know there's a lot of confusion here, right? And I know that you know, if you can get this right, if you can sort of just get this organization right, it's going to really speed up how you distribute your analytics internally and how effective you are at immersing everyone in analytics. And also, it's really going to stop you from creating these silos and just this maze of, you know, this sort of like Excel effect of everyone doing their own thing. If you can all sort of bring it into these unique workspaces and have a bit more organization around it, then, you know, a bit more organization around the setup, that's going to really pay dividends later on down the track. Okay, so Matthew's got a question. Do data sets usually reside within the workspace or a separate one as a shared data set? It's my belief that they are in the workspace. So I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that data sets and data flows sit within a workspace. So I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yeah, I'm pretty confident, but possibly could be wrong. Possibly. I'm not 100% confident. Now, okay, so we've gone into how this you set this up. Okay, then how does this relate to the Analyst Hub? Okay, how does this relate to the Analyst Hub? So what you can do, and this is what we've done internally, right, is we've got a range of different teams, and I'm in this particular example, I'm in the Enterprise DNA Dev team, because this is the team that I have included all of those internally who are working on our own analytics projects, right? Or we're going to give visibility to those specific analytics projects. So this is exactly what you're asking, Matt. Can you mirror the workspace structures? Absolutely, and this is exactly the best practice now that we've created, right? So how we do that is under the Enterprise DNA Devs, we've created projects which mirror those exact workspaces. Okay, so you'll see here, Enterprise DNA internal products, Enterprise DNA sales, Enterprise DNA finance, Enterprise DNA marketing, Enterprise DNA customers. Okay, so I'm in my broader team, but underneath that team, I have all of these subspaces which can then we can then align to what we have inside of Power BI. Okay, and then we can come back here and utilize all of these different apps, save documents into our team, and then save down these to all the individual projects, right? And so then you can have, say, your planner tools. So let's have a look. I'll see if we've got some good examples here. Okay, so I've got my planner tool, right? In eDNA marketing planner, and then this is saved as a document in here. But then if I come down into my marketing, you'll see that it's saved into my marketing project now. And so I've got my planner, I've got my data sources that are going into my marketing. So you see here that we've got some examples. See, all of the whole thing about this is that this is not visible inside of Power BI. It's not immediately obvious. I mean, they do have like content here, but to me, it doesn't, you know, it's not that easy to understand, and it's not as descriptive as what you can place into inside the Analyst Hub, right? Because you can, you know, plan it out before you actually do it. That's a big thing. Like this only shows up after you do it. So you can do a bit of planning around it before you actually go and do it inside the Power BI online service, but also you can collaborate. So you can leave comments, you can discuss what's going on. You can be really specific. You know, you can put maybe this is your current data sources, but then this is like a are nice to have data sources, or plan out future data sources that might be useful inside of here. You can just really plan and document exactly how you want these to work inside of the online service before everyone just like throws stuff against the wall and places it into the online service. And then you've obviously got, you've got the other things you can use as well. So, you can use your priorities planner. You can do this planning before you start as well. And one of the things, one of the things that I did initially, like a few weeks ago, is I actually set this all up before I did anything inside of here. Okay, so I set up my team, I set up my projects, I planned out everything, and it has sped up what we have done inside the online service by like a factor of like 5, just because we've built this framework around how we have actually deployed our analytics initiatives or prioritized what we are doing inside of Power BI. And it actually, it's funny. It actually simplifies things for you as well, because when you start with this like blank canvas inside of here, honestly, you can get overawed by how much you can do or what you can do. But when you actually simplify it down into these unique workspaces with a bit of a plan around how you want to set up the workspace, what data you want to feed into the workspace, it just showcases to you the it sort of builds the framework in your mind about how you're going to go about things, and you can really drill into what's going to make the biggest impact the quickest. And then it's not as big a project as what you maybe initially thought. There's just a lot more clarity in your mind around how you can actually go about it. Okay, so yeah, hopefully this is, I'll show you a couple of other examples, and I see a question, so we'll definitely dive into that. I want to show you, so I've got some other sort of side things that that we've created as well. So you're not totally restricted. You can create side projects as well about very specific things if you want to collaborate with a couple of individuals about something. You don't have to do it just at a workspace level. You can do it at any sort of level. So we've really dived into setting up our data sources, right? And so I wanted to create an entire plan about all of the different data sources that we could possibly generate into what we're calling our data lake. So Google Analytics, our email marketing tool, AdWords, Xero, Zapier, Google Search Console, Asana. So these are all of the data sources that we have internally that we can utilize. And then I've also used this as a way to think of other ideas. And remember, this is a document which feeds into a specific project, and so everyone can get aligned on what we're trying to achieve through that specific project, right? And so you just can't do this in any collaborative way inside of Power BI. And so this is this can add a lot of value just to your organization, like just organizing things. And then I want to show you one other one that we used. Where is it? So I actually have this in a different team. So this was some other planning that we did. So it's great, being able to just jump between different teams is really helpful as well, because some things you might want to be a bit more private as well. And so you can create a team just for, say, your management level or your executive team. And then you can create a team for your analysts. It's totally flexible how you want to do it, okay? And so I have an analytics planning one here. And what I did was this is what I did like right from the word go, before we did anything inside of Power BI, or before we sort of were redoing everything inside of Power BI, I planned out my workspaces. I said, okay, well, what do you think our workspaces should be? And this is a really valuable thing to do internally as you're just kickstarting your analytics program, right? Is think about all the things that you could go into these workspaces. So marketing, sales, finance, customers, plan this all out. It's so beneficial. And then you can plan out and collaborate on all the things that you want to see as a team, as a business function. And by doing it this way, again, you just get a lot more clarity around all of the different things that you could be analyzing, and then thinking about all the different data that could be flowing up into this. Okay. Cool. Okay, so I got a question. which I'll dive into. By the way, this actual we actually make a lot of these available in the community. Okay, so there's no need for, in a lot of cases, for you to start things from scratch. If you actually come in here, you'll see that I believe I've made this one. Yeah, this one is actually available as a community document, which you can come in and copy as a template and use yourself. So you can basically reuse exactly what we've created internally. And we're going to continue to do this, and that's the whole idea around the community, is that you can leverage off what others are doing. Okay, what's best practice to control access and releasing information to different departments and levels in order to avoid red herring questions and demands for reconciliations to other versions of the truth? So there's a couple of things that you can do there. One of the best practices that I think you need to do is that you need to have in your workspaces, right? You need to have, say, draft reports, and then you need to have approved reports. And the approved reports should go into your apps, right? So your apps should be the one version of the truth. They should be the production ready reports. Everything that sits as an individual report, I believe, should generally be sort of a draft. Yes, you can sort of pass things around as you do it, as you iterate, but you want to have this one version, one report that is the is the true version. I mean, maybe you can have a system where you have the word draft on your report, like your reports that you're spinning up quickly and you're trying to do some ad hoc analysis. But then you have some sort of like approval layer where everyone knows that this is an approved report. Maybe it's when it's in an app, maybe it's with some sort of labeling that you put inside the report. So that's probably what I would say is the best practice there. And here's a good idea. Here's another idea. Use a separate staging workspace. Okay, and that's a good idea as well. But my only thoughts around that is, if you're a larger organization, you're just going to have so many workspaces. So I think there's something you just consider to consider there. Like within your workspaces in here, right? You have the ability to include an app or exclude an app very, very easily. So so that's how I would generally do it. I think there's something around this endorsement as well, but it's not something that I've used that extensively, honestly. So I can't definitively say. I know that Microsoft endorsed this app, stop featuring this app, unpublish this app. Okay, yeah, maybe there's something in that I'm not 100% familiar with, because I haven't used it myself. But yeah, there's a couple of ways you can do this. Definitely within the Analyst Hub, we are working towards a way where you could potentially that could potentially help with that. So I've got some ideas, like sort of like versioning control. So a lot of you might be familiar with like DevOps, where you have versioning control, where some reports are, some of the changes you make to a website or an app are pushed live versus some that aren't, and that's all to do with like just controlling the versions, right? And having multiple people working on an app at the same time. Well, Power BI, I think, has historically been a very, very individual endeavor, but with the Analyst Hub, we want to make it a more collaborative endeavor where many people can work on the same report and it to be a seamless exercise. At the moment, it's not really. And we know this because a lot of our experts have been collaborating on some of the challenges, some of the Power BI challenges that we put on. And there's some definite deficiencies in how you can work together on a Power BI report, from Power BI desktop, but also to just understanding what others are doing inside of the online service. And so within the Analyst Hub, we've got a few ideas coming on stream that should help with that. One of them is very, very soon, we're going to have this notification area inside of the application called the Hub. Okay, and I want to show you. What it's going to look like, because it's only actually a couple of weeks away. We're working on it right now. So just give me a second and I'll show you. But basically we're creating like a chat and notification area inside of the Analyst Hub, and we're calling it the Hub. And it's a way for you to basically create chats. So you basically just communicate and collaborate together inside of the Analyst Hub, because in Power BI, there's no really way to do that. And sometimes you want to collaborate very uniquely about your analytics initiative. And so we're going to create that, the ability to do that. So you see here, this is an application where we sort of design all of the app. And so you'll see here that we've got this thing called the Hub. And what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to chat as a community, but you're also going to be able to chat within your team. And what's going to happen is, say anything is done within your team, we're going to have a range of notifications which pop up in the Hub. And so you'll be able to see, okay, someone's changed the planner tool, someone's created a new data model, someone's created, added some data sources to the data pipelines application, and so on and so forth. So this is going to be really, really valuable as we continue to build this out with more apps, etc. And so it's going to be more obvious, the notification part of it as well. So you'll see that, okay, well, lots of things have been happening in the Hub, and you can go in and quickly check all of the different things. You can check what's happening in your teams, what's happening in the community, etc. So I've seen a demo of where we're at right now, and it's looking amazing, looking really cool. So it's going to, again, be huge. Okay, questions. Is there a way to find things you have favorited or liked to go back and reference them? That's a good question. I think that you can within here, I believe. So I think that we're going to improve this. This might be in the Hub, but if you go in the top right here, you'll see the bell. This has all of your notifications. So you can say click on here, and it will take you to the app, that particular document, I believe. So that's how we've got it at the moment, but I think that will be improved when we release the Hub. Can you create a custom color theme by inputting the hex codes so it can be saved to a project? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Good question. Good question. So at the moment, this is how you would do it, I think. So you can create color themes in here. You can create color themes. The way to create a custom one, it doesn't look like at the moment we have that ability. What you can do is you can put your colors in here. Okay, so say for instance you have like a PowerPoint which has all the colors. This is how I would do it. I would come in here and upload an image like this. Okay, and so let's go and find one. Let's go and find a historic report that we've created. No. Okay, so I'm going to add this. Right, so I've got a color theme out of my current dashboard, right? What I would do then is I would save this theme, okay? And then I'd say custom project, it's a custom green theme. I mean, you can call this whatever you like, right? Okay, and then I can save this as a team document. I can save it down like so. Okay, then it would come into I'd come into my documents. Come into my documents. So it's now in my documents. I would then go and add it to a project from there, right? I could go and add it to COE reporting, something like that. Okay, and then it's going to appear inside of here. So this is, we don't have like a way to custom like enter in codes and put it in, but there is ways around it. I think like that would be the best way I think you could do it right now. And you can probably get pretty close to what you need, right? Because there's a lot of flexibility in how you use this color theme app. You can you can adjust how many colors you want, etc. So you can get pretty close. And one of the other things, this is actually customized to make it super simple to actually import these into your reports. So some, like, I know that there has been feedback in the past where some want us to be able to create like a JSON file, etc. But in my view, that's like still too complicated. And so how we've customized it is literally you just have to come to here, view, customize current theme. You click that, right, and up will pop this like pop-up box, or it should come up, right? And then the way that the color theme app has been created is that you click into here, and all of these are literally you copy across like this, and you don't even have to do anything else other than Control V. You click out, and then you just quickly go around. Then you apply it, and then you're done. So it honestly takes about 15 seconds to go and upload a custom theme, and then it's saved within this particular report. Okay. Okay. So a couple of other questions. I want to show you some of the just functionality as well. Those are only your items. So question here from Maya. Those are only your items that are liked in notifications. I would like to find the things I've liked, favorited. Just a suggestion. Okay. Yep. That's a really good suggestion, and something I'll have a think about. So we're always improving the Analyst Hub. So we know that nothing's perfect. It hasn't got every feature that we could possibly want, but we're taking everyone's feedback and trying to put it in as quickly as we can. Okay, so question. So just discovered your site, beginning Power Query and Power BI. Awesome. Okay, cool. So as you know, there's many ways. We've got an amazing platform of learning, resources, support, community. And the Analyst Hub is just another big part of that. One of the things we haven't really touched on is these tools here, right? So like we've got a lot of planning tools. One of the other things we've added very recently is a video playlist. So what you can do now is you can create custom playlists of videos from YouTube. Say for instance, there's specific topics that maybe you want to create just thinking out loud here, maybe you want to create a project or a team that's about learning about specific things, maybe like Power BI admin or something. Well, there's a lot of content on our own platform, but also on YouTube. And you can very quickly spin up a playlist that you could share within your team. And so there's some really good uses for that as well. Now, the other big thing that I use a lot is these code depositories, right? Or repositories. DAX cleanup, M code, and raw code. And so you'll see here in the community that these are being used quite widely now. If I click into DAX, you can kind of see all of these templates which are in the community. If I have a look at raw code, you can see that a lot of people, like we're starting to see a lot of templates around R. Also, some are using this for Python code, and this is just so that you can document, but also just reference formula really quickly and place it into the correct location inside of Power BI. And this speeds up your own productivity and development like crazy. It is crazy. Like literally, I very rarely write out long formulas in Power BI anymore. I am literally copying and pasting wherever I can, because it is just, why write it out when you can copy a best practice formula, set up in your own unique way out and from the Analyst Hub into my reports, right? So just as an example, I've got this is an interesting report. This is a learning map that we are looking to roll out on the website pretty soon, and it's a way for you to customize how you work through the material on Enterprise DNA's platform. So we're releasing this very soon, but I wanted to use this as an example. Say, for instance, okay, I've got a formula here, right? Let's have a look. Something a little bit more complex. We'll just use this as an example, right? So say I wanted to save this down in a project or a team, because I know that others are going to find this relevant, right? So I can come in here, I can copy it, come into the Analyst Hub, use the DAX cleanup tool. I can format it. I can also edit it. So like if I don't love the formatting, this is something that you just can't do elsewhere. Is that you can actually format it, right? And and then I can save it, right? I can save this down as a formula, dynamic formula technique or something. You can name it however you like. I can save it as a team document. And then forever from that point on, I can then reference this document. So this is huge, right? I mean, like I've got myself about 100 to 200 formula patterns, which I reuse over and over and over again. And I'm just literally coming into the Analyst Hub and referencing them, just like this, right? I'm coming in here, I'm copying my code, coming back to my model, and then I'm pasting it in. And, that's really all I'm having to do. I think that I did something wrong here, probably. I've done something wrong here, but anyway, that's kind of the idea, right? Maybe it did just a little bit of formatting for me in that particular formula, but that's okay. The idea is that you can create a catalog of these that are customized to you. The format of them is customized, so on and so forth, right? And you can have so many of these maybe in your personal space. So look, I can quickly jump back to my personal space, right? And I can sort of quickly see all of the formulas that I have saved down in here. So I've got like my banding example, my financial year to date formulas, grouping patterns, date add last year. So whenever I do some time intelligence, I just quickly jump in here. I've got this formatted, copy code, copy it into my copy it into my model just like that. Okay. The other big one is date tables. So it's really easy to using our M code formatter. You can come in here, and this is a community document. You can come in here and get your date table and just literally go copy code and then copy it into your model, and that's how quickly it can be to get a high quality date table. Okay. So all of these little things, all of these little optimizations, all of these little things that are going to boost your productivity, we're doing whatever we can to try and get those out to you. And then when you think about we're helping you, we really want to help get to the advanced analytics. So the fact that you can save R script, Python script, etc. in here as well is going to be huge once you get to that sort of level. Okay. So got a question. We'll round things up in a second. Does anyone vet the code shared in the community? No, we don't. So the way that I view the community is it's basically everyone can just throw whatever they want in there. There's going to be some duplication. That's absolutely fine. It's up to the individual to go in and see what they want to use. Okay. We might in the future come out with vetted templates, maybe in the future, but at the moment, that's not what I've always thought the community should be. It should just be an area where everyone can collaborate in an open format, and then you can pick and choose what you want to take as your own, because we make it super easy to search, but then also come in here and copy things like, say I want to, so I've got a formula in here, right, that I created the other day. Say I wanted to copy this, I can very easily do that and copy it into a different project, into a different team. And you can do that as well. You can put that into your own teams, your own projects, etc. Cool. Okay. So, okay. Thanks, Matthew. That's great. It's great to hear. Okay. So let's, I think I've done, I've explained, I think, the way that we're using it, some of the best practices here. So hopefully you're sort of as excited as we are around how you can utilize this with Power BI, right? There's many ways you can use it, and we sort of have built it in a way that there's no you have to use it this way. This is the format to follow, etc. There's a lot of flexibility. It can work in with how you want to set things up in your own internal environment, but also in how you want to work in Power BI yourself as an individual. There's many ways that you can utilize the platform, and we're seeing it used in many ways, and that's absolutely okay. And that's how I've envisaged it to be. So I'll just quickly go into pricing, right? So just for those who haven't used it yet. So first of all, you can try this for free. We have a 7-day trial. So please come in and use all the functionality for free. See how awesome this application is and how it's going to improve what you do. And then we have arranged a couple of different ways that you can upgrade. So this is what we're seeing most people. You can use the apps for free, right? But you don't get access to all of the great community features, team features, project features if you just want to use it for free. So you can use a DAX formatter, etc. But you just can't save documents or use any of the good community features. So most of the time we're seeing everyone use the professional pricing plan. So it's $17 a month on monthly, but if you want to pay yearly, monthly is $21 per month. But if you want to pay yearly, it's $17 per month, right? So what's that? It's less than $200 a year to probably save you, I don't know, maybe like 50 hours, 100 hours, maybe even more across a whole range of things to do with Power BI. So, and we're improving this all the time. I think the hub's going to be huge. We've got a few more apps to come out. So yeah, there's going to be it's going to be huge. And also, I'm happy to give you a discount on your first year as well. We sometimes offer this out. So if you want to just contact us, we can do that as well. If you want to jump in and start using it. So cool. Thanks, Nancy. That's great. Yep. We started with a sort of minimum viable product, but we've really invested a lot in recent times and really boosted the functionality in here in the last month or two. And I think the hub is going to be huge just in terms of communication and collaboration around all your documents and all the different apps, etc., and all the planning tools. And then we'll just slowly work away at adding solid features here and there, cleaning up a few things. But I think that with the hub, we're getting closer to initial feature complete, which I'm really stoked about. And one other thing is watch out for more best practices as we develop them with the Analyst Hub as well, because things are constantly evolving in the application and how we are using it internally, and how we think you can use it externally as well, like with all of our customers and with all those in our community. And so you'll see myself and all of the experts who are producing content using this extensively, because that's just what we are doing day to day in terms of our own workflows. So you'll see this a lot more over time. So let me know what do you think? I'm interested to know your feedback. If you aren't a current Analyst Hub user, what do you feel like you want to be after seeing some of these best practices around how we are using it? I'm interested to know. And last call for questions as well, because we're coming up to an hour now. So I think that's usually the best time to go for it until we wrap it up. So we'll go for a minute or so more. Happy to hear your feedback, answer any final questions. Thanks all for joining. It's been great to go through various aspects of the Analyst Hub. I always like talking about it. So okay, overwhelming for a beginner. Yep, that's fine. Obviously, for a beginner, what I would recommend is jump into some of our Ultimate Beginner Guide courses on the Enterprise DNA platform and our Learning Center. That's going to give you a very solid overview of how to use Power BI, and then you can just go from there. And then the Analyst Hub is going to be a great fit as you sort of move up the curve and learn a little bit more about formulas and the pillars of Power BI development. You'll really start to see the value and what it can do to your own workflow very, very quickly. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Really enjoyed it. And thanks for being part of our community. It's great to have you with us. I really enjoy interacting with you all. Just wishing you all the best, and look forward to next time. We've got another. We do have another webinar coming up at the end of the week. So definitely about formula patterns. So if you want to, I'll be probably touching on the Analyst Hub again, just going through all these different formula patterns. So definitely tune into that. Look forward to catching up with you again then. Okay, take care. Talk to you soon.